One, before I get started, I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rechahakwadash, to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well. I'd like to give double honor. Shalom to the 144,000, to the 1/3, to the hopeful elect. Shalom. All right, we're here with a lesson I'm going to call the prideful arrogance of the little horn. And we're going to get into this article from the Altitude Post by Kirk Steffens 3 days ago that says Stephen Miller's questioned Denmark right to Greenland. Obviously, Greenland should be part of the United States. So we're going to, instead of reading it, we're going to let this video play. Straight from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Oh, fair use, fair use.
It has been the formal position of the U.S. government since the beginning of this administration, frankly, going back into the previous Trump administration, that Greenland should be part of the United States. The president has been very clear about that. That is the formal position of the U.S. government.
Right, but can you say that military action against Greenland is off the table?
What do you mean military action against Greenland? The Greenland has a population of 30,000 people, Jake. The real question is, by what right does Denmark assert control over Greenland? What is the basis of their territorial claim? What is their basis of having Greenland as a colony of Denmark? The United States is the power of NATO. For the United States to secure the Arctic region, to protect and defend NATO and NATO interests, obviously Greenland should be part of the United States. And so that's a conversation that we're going to have as a country. That's a process we're going to have as a community of nations.
So you can't take it off the table that the U.S. would use military force to seize Greenland. You can't take it off the table.
Jake, I understand you're trying very hard to, which again, is your job. I respect it. It's great to get exactly the headline, right, that catchy headline.
I'm trying to get an answer to the question.
That says Miller refuses to rule out. The United States should have Greenland as part of the United States. There's no need to even think or talk about this in the context that you're asking of a military operation. Nobody's going to fight the United States militarily over the future of Greenland. So
one last question, Stephen.
Doesn't make any sense.
All right. As we just watched in the video, you can see absolute pride dripping off this Edomite, this wicked individual, and talking about taking someone else's, really somebody else's land by force, not because it used to belong to the United States, just because they feel like they can. Basically, they're saying, look, we got the best military, so we should be able to do whatever the hell we want to do. And nobody's going to fight us about it. But that shows you how much pride is coming out of this place. Because the leader is full of pride, so are his men. And so are his men, guess what? They look to the other nations, they look like the United States as a whole is very pridefully arrogant. They feel like they're better than everyone else. Like he said, the United States is the NATO military. And because they the military and they defend everything, that they should have everything they want. Like I said, just prideful arrogance, man. And we're going to get started here. Psalms 10:3. For the wicked boast of his heart's desire, and the blessed the covetous, whom Yahweh by Hashem and Hawashai bore. And we seen this man speaking and boasting of his heart's desire. Matter of fact, let's get that word boasted, because we're seeing that Esau Edom here in Babylon has really put their nose in the air and just basically like, look, we're better than you, so we're just gonna take whatever we want from you, and you can't do nothing about it. Now they supposed to have this that pact, that treaty, that, you know, if one NATO nation get in trouble, then they all come together. But what are they gonna do when the nation they got to come together against is one of their own. As Yahushua put it, if Satan rises up against Satan, and we know that word Satan going to adversary or enemy, if the enemy rises up against the enemy, then he can't stand. And we're starting to see that. And we see the word boasted, strong H 1984, halal, halal. To shine, figuratively of God's favor, to flash, to forth light, to praise, to boast, to be boastful, boastful and one boasters, to praise, to boast, to make boast, to be praised, be made praiseworthy, be commended, be worthy of praise, to boast, glory, and make one boast, to make a fool of, make into a fool. And that's what they're doing, man. They're making a fool of themselves, but they also being made a fool of. Slaki. They're making a fool of the other nations, but they're also making a fool of themselves. Because yes, the beast has one of the world's best militaries. But guess what? That will augment it with the rest of the NATO nations. You got a powerful nation like the United States, and it will backed by other powerful nations. So even if you say, I can get into a tussle with them, but with it being backed by other nations, that really became a force, a hammer to the earth. But now, the United States in their boastful rant is saying basically, we don't need y'all. We the one that made everything go. Y'all just there riding shotgun. That's what they're saying. And we'll come back to Psalms 10:3. For the wicked boasted of his heart desire, and blessed the covetous. And that's what this man Pete was trying to do. He's trying to bless the covetous Donald Trump, America, saying that Greenland should be part of the United States just because they want to. All right, we're gonna go down. We're gonna go here to 5. His ways are always grievous. Thy judgment are far out of his sight. As for all his enemies, he puffeth at them. And this shows you the wicked ways of Babylon the Great. Even with his so-called companions, his teammates, he always had grievous ways with them, especially what happened towards the middle and end of last year with those terrorists. America struck their companions, their teammates, their allies just as hard as they put tariffs on their enemies. And all this is building up to a situation where those other nations are going to come against Babylon the Great. And not on no other nation, but guess what? His allies as well. He said in his heart, I shall not be moved, for I shall never be in adversity. And what did peace say? Don't nobody want to fight the United States military. Ain't nobody gonna do nothing. So basically he's saying, hey, look, we're gonna go take Greenland and ain't nobody gonna do nothing. But that's also scriptural. Because they tell you who can make war with the beast. And you're seeing the beast, where you're seeing Babylon the Great boasting in that. Like, man, who gonna challenge us? Who's gonna fight our military power? But like I said, that shows you their prideful arrogance. Matter of fact, let me look that phrase up. Prideful arrogance. Salaki. This is prideful arrogance in the AI overview. Describes an excessive, awfully offensive sense of self-importance, where someone has inflated views of their own abilities or worth, leading to them to feel superior and disdainful of others, combining internal self-glorification with outwardly contempt and haughtiness. Now, come on now. Did that not describe how this man was talking? How he put America, put Donald Trump on this pedestal like he's the most high, but yet look down on the other nations? Like he said, who is Denmark to lay claim over Greenland? Their own colony now. Ain't that something? Denmark, let's see. Let me make sure before I speak. Greenland part of Denmark. Yes, Greenland is an autonomous territory within the Kingdom of Denmark. So how is you going to say who is Denmark to lay claim over Greenland? They're in their territory. They're a part of it. They're a part of their kingdom. But as we got in Prideful Arrogance, Babylon the Great feels superior in saying, hey, we can go take that and there's nothing you can do about it. Why? Because we're the military strength of NATO. And without us, y'all wouldn't be nothing. But without them, you would be nothing. You got to remember, the United States come from Great Britain, who was originally part of NATO, part of those 10 horns. They won their independence and through battles with the French and the Spanish got the land from them, or either through the wars or through buying them. Really, I mean, remember the Louisiana Purchase? You come out of really 3 NATO nations, but then to say, jump up and say, "Oh, we're the military, we're the one that protecting NATO." No, y'all protect each other. Because if that's the case, you'd have never made the treaty. Let me get that name of that treaty. Let's see. Matter of fact, it's NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty. Let's see. The North Atlantic Treaty established the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. Yeah. Y'all bought into that North Atlantic Treaty, man. If y'all was such the powerhouse that y'all say y'all was, y'all have never had to buy into it. You could have protected people from afar. Like I said, y'all got together, got this treaty, and became that beast that nobody could make war with. Because like I said, Babylon the Great by itself is a great military power. But when it's surrounded by 4, 5 more other powers, do you really think people are going to make war with you when they're going to get jumped? No. Salaki. All right. This just to back up when I said Babylon the Great has come out of Britain and NATO. This is Daniel 7:20. And the 10 horns that were in his head, and of others which came up, and before whom 3 fell. Those 10 horns are the original NATO nation. And the 3 horns that fell were Britain, Spain, and France. Even of that horn had eyes and a mouth that speak very great things, whose look were more stout than his fellows. See? And that goes into that arrogance, that Babylon the Great, and that self-important, that they think they're better than everyone else. That's how we know this scripture is talking about the United States. Because we just seen this man in his prideful arrogance say that NATO needed the United States. and that they should have Greenland because they're the driving military force. And even if they did want to take it, no one is really going to stop them. But let's see, can we get that in another translation? All right. And this is the CEB. I want a greater clarity about the 10 horn on his head. That's talking about the beast. No 10 horn or the NATO nation. And we know the beast to be the ancient Roman Empire that's come back through NATO. So the second leg, the revised Roman Empire. And the other horns that came up, along with the 3 that fell out to make room for it. But especially that horn that had eyes, a mouth that bragged, and that seemed more important than the other. Didn't we just hear this man boasting about how strong the United States military power is? And speaking in a way that made America seem more important than the fellow NATO nations? I'm telling you. All right, this is CJB. And we're going to go down to the description of the small horn. The horn that had eyes and a mouth speaking arrogantly and seemed greater than others. Matter of fact, that word seem to give an impression or a sensation of being something or having a particular quality. Yeah. And we know Babylon the Great is only great because Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai put them in power. Without Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, they'd have been took out, man. Especially with all the BS they've been doing all over the world. But with the backing of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai and the rest of NATO, they've been able to flourish and just do all kind of wickedness throughout the earth. Like what they did with the Venezuelan president. Ran up there, killed people, then kidnapped their president. Not only kidnapped them, dared anybody who want to say something bad about what they did, if they keep talking, basically they'll come punch them in the mouth. That shows you the height of their pride and arrogance of these people, man. But they don't know that pride is what's going to ultimately lead to their downfall. It's Proverbs 16 and 18. Pride goeth before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. And Babylon the Great don't realize making enemies of your allies and poking fun of your other enemies is not going to end well for them. The thing that they're doing now is ultimately going to lead to their destruction. Because without no friends to back you, when you get jumped, who gonna save you? Nobody. Why? Because you done threw all your friends away. You done made them feel like they were less than you. Having that stout look, like you were more important than everybody. With that prideful arrogance. And ultimately, that's gonna lead to your destruction. Because you don't see the trap that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is setting up for you. And as the scriptures say, just roughly paraphrasing, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai runs the minds of the kings of this world. So he got Babylon speaking all kind of prideful shit to the other nations, which is going to lead to their destruction. Not only by their enemies, but also by their friends. So we're seeing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai leading Babylon further and further into that trap. Let's see. We're going to go here. Jeremiah 50, 23 and 24. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And this is what they're going to say when Babylon falls. Verse 24, and here's the point. I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art taken, O Babylon. And that's what we're seeing Yahweh Bashim Hawashai do. Lay a snare, a trap for Babylon the Great by egging them on through their pride, through their arrogance, that no one can touch them. And thou was not aware, thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh Bashim Hawashai. Yeah, they striving against the Lord, but they don't realize they're dancing right in the palm of his hand. He already got the trap ready to be set. When he gonna bring these other nations against Babylon the Great? Because he's the only one that's holding them back till prophecy be fulfilled. Now, once that said measure is fulfilled, how about Shem Shai gonna stop holding them back? Those other nations back. But guess what? It's not only gonna be the enemies of America that's gonna topple them over, but also the allies. Because you can't keep doing the stuff that you're doing, that America is doing to its allies in the NATO nation, and think that these people are not going to want some get back. To think that whenever they say opening, they ain't going to hit you when you down either. No. But we all know that's the will of Yahweh Bashim Hawashai, and that trap that he's laid for Babylon the Great through their pride. All right. Go here. Obadiah 1:7. All the men of thy confederacy had brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee have deceived thee. And Greenland was at peace. Europe was at peace. France was at peace. The NATO nation was at peace with Babylon the Great. But when they started coming against the tiny hat people for their things that they were doing in Gaza, that's when America started standing up against them, increasing the tariffs that were going to them, talking about what they would and won't do to them. And even now, saying they're willing to take Greenland from Denmark, where they said it without saying it. Let's put it that way, Salaki. They said it without saying it. Basically, if they want Denmark, they gonna go take it. And ain't nobody gonna be able to do nothing about it. But what they don't see, that doing that is falling to the hands of Yahweh Bashim Hawashai, which Yahweh Bashim Hawashai is gonna put the thought into those other nations to come against Babylon. All right. All the men of thy confederacy had brought thee even to the border. The men that were at peace with thee had deceived thee and prevailed against thee. They that eat thy bread had laid a wound under thee. There is none understanding in him. And they're getting ready to lay that wound under Babylon the Great. But like I said, it's not going to happen until that said measure be fulfilled, for that prophecy for them to join in on the roasting of this whole Babylon the Great. Because Yahweh Bashim Hawashai was already going to bring Russia against them and his company. But when they come full force to knock Babylon the Great off, because Babylon is definitely going to either leave NATO or destroy it with this infighting. But either way, they're going to be on their own. So when them other nations come to bring that ass whooping, guess who's going to be there with them? These NATO nations who Babylon the Great done pissed off. Let's see. We'll go here. This is what I'm talking about. Jeremiah 50:14-15. Put yourself in array against Babylon around about. All ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrow, for she has sinned against Yahweh Bashim Hawashai. And we know those arrows are going into those nuclear missiles. So Yahweh Bashim Hawashai is telling them, hey, look, when you come against them, shoot everything you got. Unload all your clips. Shoot the club up. He don't he don't want them to pull nothing. He don't want them to pull back and have one missile left. He said, spare no arrow. Meaning if you got it, send it. Verse 15, shout against her round about. She had given her hand. Her foundations are fallen. Her walls are thrown down. For it is the vengeance of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. Take vengeance upon her as she had done unto you. And see, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai is gonna let those nations that he been holding back, that been taking those butt whipping from Babylon, to finally have their revenge against them. But like I said, and how this scripture has worded it, do unto her. She had done, do unto her. Basically, get your lick back. And they're going to be for more than just the enemies of Babylon, but also the NATO nation. Also those 10 horns that Babylon the Great keep disrespecting. They're going to get into it too. Which we're going to close out there. This is Revelation 17. We're going to start at verse 1 and drop down to 16 and 17. And there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked to me, saying unto me, come hither. I will show you the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. That's Babylon the Great of America. He's about to show John the Revelator the death sentence that Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai is going to cast upon this great whore. All right. Verse 16. And the 10 horn which thou sawest upon the beast, we know that's the NATO nation. Let's see what's going to happen. These shall hate the whore. Why shall those nations hate the whore? Because the whore just doing all kind of dirty shit, man. Like I said, pridefully arrogant. Saying because they're the military might of NATO, they should get what they want, and nobody's not gonna fight them. So you don't think these NATO nations hate Babylon the Great right now because of that? Because of that, them laying down with the gonzo noses, with them putting higher tariffs on them, messing up their economy. You think these nations ain't mad with Babylon the Great? Like I said, it's Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai that's holding back their anger, so prophecy can be fulfilled. And they shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And we know that fire is going into that thermonuclear fire. Like I said, when Russia and the other nations come against America, those NATO nations are going to be right there with them too. All the ones that got those nukes are going to help fire upon her. And as we seen in that Jeremiah 23, the Lord said, spare no arrow. So every missile that's going to be in stock is going to be set upon Babylon the Great. And we're going to burn that whore, and going to burn that great whore with fire. Verse 17, for Yahweh had put in their hearts to fulfill his will. And what's his will? Making sure this whore get burnt into a crisp. And to agree and to give their kingdom unto the beast, until the words of Yahweh shall be fulfilled. See, once everything is fulfilled, once the prophecies be fulfilled, the Jacob's trouble, and ultimately the mark of the beast, the MOTB, once that measure is fulfilled, guess what? That third woe, that final battle, the battle of Armageddon, and ultimately the destruction of America by thermonuclear fire. But that's all I had to say on this. I hope this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai. Shalom.